lecture of international. Welcome to third lecture of international series at Kanya Maha Vidyalaya, Jalandhar, physics chapter. Dear students, dear colleagues, the principal ma'am, and our honorable guest, Dr. Michael Ojowan. It is an honor and really blessing for me to present before all of you the credentials and talk a little about our guest speaker, that is Dr. Michael Ojowan from Department of Materials, Imperial College, London, UK. Before I introduce him formally and we get to know more about him, let us invite our worthy principal ma'am for her inaugural address for the third talk and express, seek her views for the series and for her blessings for the same. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Gopi. The series, international series for our students of KMV Jalandhar is a way to give them not only the best education, but in the present times, lift their spirits and also give them a support, both academic as well as psychological and mental well-being. And for contributing to these series, we have Dr. Jowan today from London. And Dr. Ojawan, at the outset, we are extremely grateful to you for joining in today, sparing your precious time for our students and an excellent exposure that you'll be getting during your talk and as you take them across your laboratory. I think at this stage of their careers, it's extremely important to get to see the benchmarks in the discipline which they follow. And when they see somebody like you with your achievements and the standards that you have set in your discipline, in your area, it's a great kind of education for them, for their holistic development. We are always aspiring to give the best to the students here. And our Department of Physics is the star department and very, very highly rated, in this total scenario. And I wish to congratulate head of the department, Mrs. Parminder, and Dr. Gopi, and all the other faculty members who keep contributing to such wonderful activities for the development of our students. So Dr. Ojowan, without saying much, I once again wish to thank you for contributing at this time when the students need such talks and exposure the most. International series are, as I said, they are aimed to expose the students to the best and set high standards for them to follow and to work, to aspire, and possibly achieve. Thank you, and I hope that the students and yourself, you have a wonderful talk and day ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Ojowan has joined us since the beginning of this series, and he might be wondering that why this time I didn't start it with a brief introduction of KMV or showing the college website, which I was doing for the past two lectures of the part of series. And because this time I want to show that all the work done with the hard work and the benchmark created, the pillar of strength by Principal Ma'am, where like the day she joined and where we are today now, this can be witnessed from our success in terms of our success of our students, and also something is considered authentic only when it has a presence on internet. So I want to take today, I want to take to the journey where you can see not only the present, like now we are live on YouTube, but I'm taking again back YouTube, but showing what all you can come to know about KMV, the work done by the principal ma'am, the history of you can see later on. Of course, I cannot show all the videos and the work done in terms of social during the COVID timings, the excellent work done during the COVID timings, how the morale of the student was uplifted by her, how much the work contribution to the society was made, even the distribution of food, masks, medicines, everything. So many things have been done by this heritage institution. So Dr. Ojawan, I am, with the permission of Principal Ma'am, I'm taking you to a virtual gallery. I can say it is a gallery, YouTube gallery, Here you can witness and participate a little bit glimpses of the work done by the Kanya Maha Vidyalaya. So this is our channel. This is called KMV Feedback. I think we started just to collect it as feedback. So it was named as KMV Feedback, but maybe we need to rename it. We will thought about later on. So in this channel, you can subscribe it. Even if you don't want to subscribe it, you can see all the videos, the playlist, community work done by us. For example, what our alumni says about us, you can watch here. It is just streamed 3 days ago. Then how our annual prize distribution function, even in the COVID time, is held, and what the chief guest says about KMV, how the KMV is a benchmark in terms of the rest of the many other institutions, not only the state, but at the national level. So these, as you can see, that is the timeline goes on YouTube with respect to the, like it goes in the backward order. So there all these are the activities undertaken through Zoom, that national workshop on solid waste management. Pikmake, you can enjoy even Kathak. You can see a very famous, renowned Kathak artist has performed in collaboration with KMV live for the students. So how you can do the indoor workouts, the motivation for students. Even you can like encourage. You can do fabric painting. Maybe Olga can see this video and join and stay inspired that okay, yes, I can get. So KMV don't restrict knowledge to itself. Vajavan, that is a beauty of this heritage institution, as we were discussing, this pandemic to be shortly over. And then you can come and see all this yourself. But of course, even in a 7 days or 10 days visit will be too less for a heritage institution like KMV. You can see the work of students. Okay, I'm not so tech savvy person, so I need to go down or I need to go right. Here are the other playlist. Manmeet, can you help me?
I'm click on the videos.
Okay, click on the videos. Thank you. So I need to show you this. Yes. See, Baisakhi, the festival of Punjab. Even then, the lockdown or the COVID hasn't left hasn't barred us, like hasn't put us in jail, in home, or give us as any mental strength. Each day there is something, each day students celebrate something. Each day you can see the beautiful video, the full blossom of flowers shooted, I think shoot by principal ma'am itself, if I'm not wrong. She's an excellent in photography. That is a one of the part which come to know, which we come to know very rare often. The ideal place, the heritage inspiring videos posted for the KMV. This is our song Pearls. You can see at the end there is a song of KMV. It is in Hindi. Shortly, we will put the titles, subtitles in English. But the different departments, they are doing all these will be Zoom recordings. But as you go down, 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 you can see the many gender sensitization, how the students can protect themselves, the karate classes, their um, different topics. I don't think so. We leave any topic. See yoga, the most favorite KMV personal room. You can see the students doing yoga in this COVID time. So you how you can improve your immunity. The last year we had an international conclave for 7 days. Where people from many countries they participated. You can see the delegation, Dr. Edward from the Boston University, the guy from the South Africa, from Hungary, and Dr. John from the Boston University, Maria, Scotland, many places. Then what students says about KMV. So these are the all video galleries which is full of the work done, the hard work, and vision of KMV. So whenever you get time, even the students who are present here, the science students like MSc, BSc, dear students, if you haven't seen, then please give a look to your own home. KMV is like your own home, but look around. Look how many beautiful drawing rooms, how many beautiful bedrooms, and the library you have. So go through it, share it with your family and friends so that you can feel proud that, okay, yes, I have been graduated from KMV. This is my, this is the star institution. So here you can see the Havan, the holy ritual which is performed to welcome all the students. So these are the, so that's why I'm not taking to any departmental website or, so I'm taking you to virtually a life and the ambience at KMV. So that's why, oh yes, fashion show. It's my personal request. You must show this to Mrs. Ojovan, my very good friend Olga. Then I will take a feedback from her. She would love it. And maybe once, whenever the next international conference will take place at campus, then this fashion show will be reorganized, where you can see so many things about my institution, the place of all of us for this. So without, because this the title series says the live interaction. So some interaction goes from our side where we talk about ourselves. Now it is time, dear students, to listen from Dr. Ojovan. So let me introduce him formally. That besides a luminary in physics, ma'am, he is an excellent, excellent person, beautiful human being with a very good heart. I still remember when I was so nervous in Prague. Even though I was invited speaker, but I was very tense. So he consoled me and really supported me in the whole city. We went around with his wife. We enjoyed the dinner together. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that support. Now I'm going to introduce his credentials. He is a popular name in the glass community, and his CV directly says that he is a chief editor of the journal Science and Technology of Nuclear Installations. He has been nuclear engineer of International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Dear students, this is a world topmost agency for the nuclear power. They're really, really powerful. And he works as a professor of Imperial College London. See, a person associated with two different countries. So he's today present here with you, for my dear KMB students. An associate reader at University of Sheffield, UK. He is known for the connectivity progression theory of glass transition, Sheffield model of viscosity of glasses, Malt's theoretical basis of condensed ribbon matter, metallic and glass composite material for nuclear waste immobilization. Some student who wanted to do PhD in theoretical classes, they can interact with him later on also. Self-sinking capsules to investigate Earth's deep interior. He has published 40 monographs, including Handbook of Advanced Radioactive Waste Conditioning Technologies by Woodhead and 3 editions of Introduction to Nuclear Waste Immobilization by Elsevier. He has founded and led the IA International Predisposable Network (IPN) and IA International Project on Irradiated Graphic Processing. It's an excellent CV, really, Michael. Many, many congratulations to you for all these achievements. So without taking much time, now I request Dr. Ojovan to deliver his talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will start sharing my screen. Sorry. Sorry, I'm looking how to start because I cannot see everything.
You have to click on the start slideshow. It is
You know what happened?
sorry.
It just the menu became very strange. So maybe I'll
Otherwise, you
I'll
go to slideshow.
le-
Go to slideshow.
sorry, just a moment.
Yeah. Okay.
So once again,
हाँ जी अच्छा मनमोहन अभी ये आ गया बंदा कलर्स लेके आया
it's something
Yes.
happened very strange because I used that many times and
It's okay. If you
now
just
doesn't work. Ah, yeah,
no,
okay.
okay,
Colleagues,
done.
sorry.
It's okay.
So I managed it. So many thanks for KMV University for inviting me. Dear students, dear colleagues, it's really a pleasure to attend this distinguished University of India. I know already for many times Dr. Sharma, and this is because of our joint work with the International Commission on Glass. So we both are members of International Commission on Glass. And for your information, last week, the General Assembly of United Nations has approved the next year, 2022, as the International Year of Glass. So glass will be often in media perhaps next year, and some of the events will also note glasses. And Dr. Gopi Sharma recalled our joint participation in the International Congress on Glass. It is held every 3 years. So not last, 2019, it was in Boston. And by the way, the next year, 2022, it will be held again in Europe. It will be in Berlin. So many thanks for inviting me. And I'm going to a little bit introduce to you the information to share with you about the International Atomic Energy Agency for which I work. So I will start with a little bit information about me. It's not about me, it's about the work that I do. And then I will move to the IAEA. I have a short movie there. It's just 3 minutes. It's a historical one, so I'll try to share it as well with you. And then I'll move to the nuclear energy and to the topic where I am bound with. It's about nuclear waste. So that's the plan for chapters of my presentation. So I'm starting with information about me. And thank you for introducing me. A very short CV. This is the cover of our book, which we published on nuclear waste immobilization. It's about the whole story of nuclear waste management, not just immobilization, which is the core, of course, of the book. And we already published the third edition of this book. The third edition of this book. In addition to my teaching, so the book is like a manual. It's a textbook for universities, and it is used in the United Kingdom universities. But not only, it's also a reference as a scientific book because it's updated. I put here a little bit information about the activities that I do, and as Dr. Sharma noted, before moving to Vienna International Atomic Energy Agency, I worked for the University of Sheffield since 2002. And there in the University of Sheffield, I was also involved in the start of the work of Nuclear Technology Education Consortium. The symbol of it is at the bottom of my slide. And I worked there as a director of a module on nuclear waste management. So I in the Nuclear Technology Education Consortium in UK, I was teaching this module, not in Sheffield, in the University of Manchester. And 6 promotions I held there. So as a director of this module, so you see here the photographs with my students at the Nuclear Technology Education Consortium. And actually this textbook on nuclear waste mobilization was published first in 2005 when based on teaching in University of Sheffield and University of Manchester, we published the first edition. And then we published the second edition in 2019, the third edition of the book. In 2011, I moved to Vienna from University of Sheffield. So I worked there till the end of 2018 in the Department of Nuclear Energy. And there, together with my colleagues from Department of Nuclear Energy, we managed to start a network, international network, which is called International Predisposal Network, which covers all activities of this waste, nuclear waste, before the disposal. I published some technical documents there as a scientific secretary, so I contributed, but the authors of these technical publications is not me, it's a group of experts. You know how agency works. If there is a problem, the IAEA invites experts. So the people, the specialists who know the topic, and they then advise. And one of the area of the work of the agency is to prepare technical guidances, tech docs, so-called technical documents. And I finished and published during my term in the IAEA 5 such publications. I submitted other 2, and I led some international projects like GRAPA, which is on graphite processing approach, and another one, which is actually with the Russian type nuclear power reactors, the water energetic reactors. So that was and it is still active, the project, which is on benchmarking of radioactive waste generated by such type of reactors. So this is, in the slide, it's also given the link. This is the International Predisposal Network web page, and experts who are interested, they can join. Applications are welcome. So you see here the bottom on the screen, which is called not a member yet. So then you complete a very, very short, just a kind of 3 positions where you put your background and your interests, so that the reason that you want to join the network, and then you can be a member of this community, which do everything that must be done with the radioactive waste before the disposal. And these activities, there are many of them. I'll very briefly introduce to you a little bit later during this presentation. So I'm currently affiliated on the position of a visiting professor in the Imperial College London, Department of Materials. So I'm continuing now to do my work as an academic, basically doing scientific research. I'm teaching. Currently, we do that using online opportunities, which from one point are worse because no way to be face-to-face. But from another point of view of enlarging, making bigger the community of people who can join and attend, it's a big advantage. So we can involve much more people and do things easy using the virtual platform of teaching. So to finish with introducing myself, it was also noted in my CV. I'm leading the journal, the most influential journal of nuclear power, science and technology of nuclear installations. So this is an open access journal. It was published by Hindavi, but recently, last year, it was acquired by the Wiley, a very well-known publisher. So now it's a joint journal published by Wiley and Hindavi. And I'm leading this journal, so you are welcome to submit the results of your research. We will be pleased to publish here things related to the nuclear facilities, nuclear industry, nuclear installations, nuclear research, of course. So I'm moving to the International Atomic Energy Agency. This is my immediate past. So I left in 2018, at the end of 2018. I returned to academia, but I worked there almost 8 years. And what is the International Atomic Energy Agency? So it's the most influential and is the world center for cooperation in the nuclear field. And it seeks to promote safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technologies. And I will try now to share with you a short movie. This is just 3 minutes to introduce very briefly to you from the headquarters of IAEA. What is the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency? This movie was prepared in 2017. In 2017, when I was still in Vienna headquarters, the IAEA celebrated the 60 years anniversary. And the agency has prepared a very brief introductory just to go through the history. So it's just 3 minutes. I very hope that the sound will be also with you. Sorry, let me get back. Now it should work.
In 1957, an agency was created with a vision to harness the power of the atom for the benefit of humankind. It works with partners across the globe to help countries use nuclear science and technology to meet development challenges, boosting food supplies, improving health, protecting the environment, and contributing to global peace. This agency provides the technology, expertise, and training to make all this possible. Through nuclear science, it helps countries to develop high-yielding crops that can thrive in extreme conditions, breed healthier livestock, and protect fruit and animals from harmful pests. The work of this agency supports the conservation of our oceans and coastlines, protecting the marine resources that ensure the livelihoods of millions of people. It promotes the use of nuclear technology to fight cancer and improve human health. The organization assists countries with their energy plan. If they choose nuclear power, it offers expertise to ensure facilities are run safely and securely. It provides standards and assistance to ensure the safe use of radioactive materials, guidance on the management of the waste generated by the use of nuclear technologies, and helps nations to prepare for and respond to incidents and emergencies. It's an agency that prevents the spread of nuclear weapons by helping to make sure that nuclear materials remain in useful uses. It's the global platform for cooperation in nuclear security, advising countries how to guard against nuclear terrorism and prevent the theft and smuggling of radioactive materials. Providing technology and expertise, promoting safety and security, assisting sustainable development. This is Atoms for Peace and Development. This is the IAEA.
So, dear colleagues, a very, very brief glance view of the IAEA. So during my term of working for International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna and the headquarters in Vienna, the general director of IAEA was Ikea Amano. He was the director till 2019. In 2019, Rafael Grossi, who before that was a representative of Argentina. And by chance, I was the technical officer of radioactive waste management projects in Argentina. So I met him in another position, but I did not work under him So now he's the general director of IAEA. In 2017, during the celebration of 60 years of IAEA, the logo, the mandate, you see here the quote from Kanya Maha. Before that, the logo of IAEA was Atoms for Peace, Atoms for Peace. And in 2017, Kanya Maha proposed, and now the logo of IAEA is Atoms for Peace and Development. Just to acknowledge the contribution of nuclear energy in the development of our civilization. So here on this slide, it's like a brief history of setting the IAEA in 1957. So in 30s, the fission of heavy nuclei was discovered, and it was realized that the fission of uranium releases huge amount, enormous amount of energy. And initially, this energy was realized into production of nuclear bombs. And it was realized that this is a very dangerous development. And with the efforts from United States of America, from former Soviet Union, in 1957, it was launched the International Agency with the aim of peaceful use of this very beneficial source of the energy. So now in 2021, 172 countries are the members. We call them member states of the IAEA. In 2017, it was there were 168. So I amended here the slide of the agency. About 2,500 staff work for the agency from over 100 countries. So this is really an international organization, and the headquarters is in Vienna. So the largest number of the staff works in Vienna, in headquarters. But there are also laboratories not far from Vienna, just as outskirts of Vienna and Seibersdorf, here in Austria, and also in Monaco. And two regional offices, one is in Toronto and Tokyo. And there is also a liaison officer in New York and Geneva for the IAEA. The IAEA is an autonomous international organization within the United Nations system. So it reports to the United Nations General Assembly. I noted that last week the Assembly approved the next year as the Year of the Glass, International Year of Glass. So the IAEA reports to the General Assembly of United Nations. And of course, the IAEA work in partnership with many organizations, international organizations. So what are the main areas, core areas of the work of the IAEA? The first one is safeguards and verification. It is where the agency does activities aimed to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons, which is very dangerous. So nuclear terrorism and nuclear weapons. It's not just nuclear bombs, of course. The next area is the area of safety and security, where the agency develops standards in order to aim to protect the people and environment from harmful radiation exposure. And the third area is the area of science and technology, where the agency mobilizes the peaceful applications of nuclear science and technology. And this area includes the radioactive waste processing and disposal, radioactive waste management, where also standards and guidances are developed, but also agency provides reviews and services to member states, to these 172 countries, that support capacity building in these countries. Agency promotes also knowledge networks. One of them is now the International Predisposal Network, IPN. And agency provides a forum for communicating, increasing transparency, sharing lessons learned. Therefore, many workshops, meetings, congresses are organized also by the IAEA. So these are the three main areas, so safeguards and verification, safety and security, and science and technology. And I put the arrow just to emphasize that my term when I worked for IEA was within the area of science and technology, Formally, the departments are shown here. So this work is split within the departments. So the Department of Nuclear Applications, it is where the highest concentration of scientific research is done for different applications, because applications doesn't fit only power generation, is the largest, but there are many applications, and perhaps all of you know that in medicine, the nuclear applications are extremely important and provide the extension of our life and possibility to fight against many diseases. The Department of Nuclear Energy, it is where I work for, and here it's nuclear power plants, etc., but also nuclear fuel cycle, but also nuclear waste management, which is, let's say, my area of interest. Safety and security and safeguards. So safety and security is the standard, safeguards is verifications, and the largest department in the IAEA is the Department of Technical Cooperation. It is the department which deals with the assistance to member states, 172. So all the countries who have some problems, they approach IAEA and ask to help them, to advise them, etc. And then the agency on a regular basis does many works in many countries. So let's say before joining the IAEA, I was invited by the IAEA as a technical expert, just in the area that I know. The IAEA invited me and submitted me to many countries in the world to help them in managing and resolving one or another problem. So I visited many countries. I was never an expert to India, sorry. I was in China, for example, several times, and in many other countries, even in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, I was invited a couple of times to resolve some questions there. It depends. So it was noted that safety standards are important. So the IAEA develops safety standards aimed to protect the health and minimize danger from the nuclear radiations caused by nuclear energy. Radiations, dangerous consequences of radiations. And these standards are really international standards. They are free accessible through the website of the agency. They can be ordered through the library, and although they are international standards, they are not immediately mandatory everywhere. They are guidances. But in many countries, they are taken and then approved as national standards. But in principle, the states, the countries are responsible in their countries for the safety, and therefore they can use the IAEA standards just as guidances, so they are not immediately applicable to all the countries. Of course, the IAEA is using these standards in their activity, and they are really conservative and provide the safety of utilization of nuclear energy. There is a kind of structural arrangement of the standards in the form of a pyramid. So on the top there are safety fundamentals, some principles which they are obeyed, then everything which goes to the details will be safe. And then the safety standards, they are developed in form of general safety requirements, and there are different series in the left column of my slide, and specific safety requirements to some specific areas, like the safety of, let's say, reactors, power reactors, or research reactors, or radioactive waste facilities management and disposal facilities, etc. So then, going down to the bottom of the pyramid, there is a collection of safety guides And then there is a collection of technical documents. So the area where I personally contributed, participated in development, publication, and now these documents are available. These are technical documents on the very bottom of this pyramid. Although I was involved in some higher level for some consultations, but my main area was actually these detailed technical guidances in dealing with the radioactive waste interface. So let's first a little bit consider jointly with you nuclear energy. And I'm starting consideration of nuclear energy with a quote of my previous boss, the head of Department of Nuclear Energy. He was during my term, and he is currently as well. Mikhail Chudakov. He's the Deputy General Director and the head of Department of Nuclear Energy. And the quote from him states that nuclear power will have an important role to play in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and in meeting the targets of the Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement is about the greenhouse emissions. But what are the Sustainable Development Goals? Maybe not. Because of that, I put this slide that the United Nations have development the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So it is, these targets that all the civilization is moving to and is trying to achieve. And they are reasonable, they are approved by also by the General Assembly of the United Nations, and they are natural, like, no poverty, etc. So the nuclear power, as quoted from Mikhail Chudakov, will play definitely a very, very important role. If you look to greenhouse emissions here, there are some numbers. So currently the nuclear power, the electricity which is generated by nuclear reactors, this is nuclear power. So 11% of the world's electricity is generated by nuclear reactors currently in the world. If you look, I have to get back, if you look to the life cycle is not during one operation, it is to count everything. Generation of greenhouses, you see that by the emissions, nuclear power is almost at the same as hydro. So it's a very, very low generation indeed. Very low generation. The nuclear power which generates 11% of electricity here. The agency accounts for every single reactor in the world, nuclear power reactor world, by an official system which is called PRIS. You can see here the site of this system, where you can look anytime what's happening in the world. So you can see here 443 nuclear power reactors are operating. What amount of energy do they generate? What the number of reactors which are under the construction, etc. So everything here it is reported in the IEA. And again, from my part, is to emphasize, please advise the important questions to the site of IEA, because these numbers that are here published are very, very reliable. You can count on them. People count on them. No one will object, because they are officially reported to the agency. They are checked many times, and only after that they are published. So if you look here, you can find the overall data on nuclear power generation, and you can see interesting data about the number of the reactors, let's say, or the amount of electricity which is generated. And of course, that I put here just to show to you where is India. And these overall reports, so it's quite in the upper part of the plot of nuclear powers, and it's actually a very interesting country, even from the point of view of the thorium nuclear fuel cycle. It should be and is on the very top, the country that developed the thorium nuclear fuel cycle, compared with other countries that utilize the uranium nuclear fuel cycle. So for India, you can see also from PRIS, from the IEA, what's happening in India as officially reported. So the reactors in operation, you can see here, under the construction, 6 you got in India, they shut down not yet. And all this data, you can go to more details and find, and it's of interest to see any country, not just India, which has I selected just because of interest to you, dear students. There is very significant development even after the catastrophe that happened in Chernobyl, and 35 years ago and 10 years ago in Fukushima. And nevertheless, the nuclear power is under significant development, particularly in Asia, in Far East, where the leader, of course, is China. And you can see here the regional distribution of nuclear power capacity, and you see under the construction significant development of nuclear power generation. These are power nuclear reactors. This is a very, very short, just 1 minute a movie. I will start it, but I selected here just to show to you that in 1954, it was even before I was born. In 1954, the first nuclear power reactor, which was a very small by power, just 5 megawatt. We currently speak about half or 1 gigawatt power reactors that operate in the world. But the Obninsk it's said that it's in Russian Federation. It was in former Soviet Union. It was put into operation in 1954. And dear students, I will start. So I selected here just to show to you. Since I am online, I can put here close to. This is a piece of graphite inside of this glass of graphite from this first reactor. Of course, this is that one what knows in the reactor is clean, non-radioactive at all. But you know that the graphite is a very important moderator, very important part of nuclear power reactor. So if I'll press, it should go. If not, okay. So you will see now how things are. You see that the first appeared Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, the United States on the very top of my slides. How the countries joined the club of nuclear power generation countries, and year by year, more and more reactors are currently, until we will come to today's, and sometimes here the India appeared with the number of reactors under operation. So that's how the situation develops, and also this is available in the PRIS system on IEA website. Some with animations, and you see on the left bottom corner the year is changing, and the number of reactors is changing, increasing, more and more reactors, and the capacity is also growing, and a lot of electricity supplied. The total terawatt hour which were generated, it is also shown. So that's the statistics. So what are the prospects for nuclear power? You can see here the prospects that are developed future. Should show. So what do we expect? We expect that the coal and oil use will decline, and the renewable will grow significantly this time. The gas, it is still expected to be growing until the gas resources, natural gas resources are available to be burned and power generators. And nuclear, it is also expected to grow this time. And colleagues, all power sources are associated by risks and produce waste. And I didn't put here the slide is the people who were died because of risk associated with the power. But nuclear in this plot is even the lowest, despite of the two catastrophes that occurred in Chernobyl and Fukushima, by the numbers. So nuclear energy has a potentially exceeding valuable role to play in securing electricity supplies, and can do it safely. And integrated, not alternative, but integrated with our power sources. The nuclear powers give long-term security of supply against economic and political threats, and short-term load-following capabilities with maximized efficiency. But colleagues, we need to build the trust of the public. So to avoid any accidents with the reactors, of course, to obey all the rules and to ensure that they are operating safely. And an important area, it is also the management of nuclear waste, or they are also called radioactive waste. Radioactive waste. So to finish with the nuclear power, this is a quote now from former General Director Kanya Maha, where he said definitely that it's difficult to see how the world will be able to meet the challenge of securing sufficient energy and mitigating the impact of climate change without making more use of nuclear power. So he said in 2017, and this time we see that he is absolutely right, and we see the growth of utilization of nuclear power. So let me pass to the last my section of my talk to you. It's about radioactive waste or nuclear waste, and the agency pays focused a big attention to the management of radioactive nuclear waste. So I put here the definition of radioactive waste. So these are unwanted materials which are contaminated or contain radionuclides at concentration or activities greater than clearance levels as established by a regulatory body in any country. The definition is important to be shown to you because in reality, dear colleagues, you are now you are learning and you realize that practically everything around us is a little bit radioactive, and we are subject to cosmic radiation, to the natural background radiation. We contain even in our bodies some carbon-14, some tritium, etc. Little radionuclides which are just around us as a natural component of the environment. And the point is that when the content of these radionuclides or contaminations become greater than some levels, then we declare that these materials are radioactive waste or radioactive materials that we should care about. So the question is about the level. Sorry. And as for radioactive waste, the definitions, the standards which are used in dealing with the nuclear waste are very, very conservative. If you look to the total dose, which is so-called exemption dose, so if the total dose during 1 year will be below this 10 microsievert per year, then this material by definition is non-radioactive, although it has some radioactivity, but it's not radioactive waste, let's say. And if you look to this table about the doses that we inevitably are receiving due to one or another thing, like we are eating a little bit, let's say, Brazil nuts. So 100 grams of Brazil nuts is the same as 1 year contact these materials that are exempt from consideration as being radioactive waste. So the levels are indeed very, very, very low, very conservative. So it's just to absolutely ensure the safety. And these are the levels that are recommended by the International Atomic Energy Agency in cooperation with other international organizations. You can see, if you look to this table I highlighted, the average annual radon dose to the people in Cornwall, which is a part of United Kingdom. And you see that the question is about many hundred times larger than natural background radiations received from other sources. Just emphasize the conservativity of the documents. So I worked, and the radioactive waste is dealt with in the Department of Nuclear Energy. And the radioactive waste are generated due to various uses of nuclear energy, various uses. So nuclear applications like in medicine, research, nuclear facility operations like research reactors can be decommissioning of something which dealt with radioactivity, environmental remediation with some legacy things. And the last one, which is called on the left side of my slide, DSRS, that means disused sealed radioactive sources. The sources of radiation are used by industries, by the research, as a concentrated form, some pencils, to irradiate, let's say, the tumors, cancer tumors, to kill them, or in defectoscopy. And these sources, after they are used, when they become disused, it's also can become a radioactive waste. And then we are dealing with the radioactive waste. And the radioactive waste management is a very developed and very regulated activity. And it has basically two large areas, pre-disposal and disposal. When you get rid, dispose off, and let's say forget because it's considered safe. But before that, we need to do a lot of many things with the radioactive waste. And they start with characterization. And dear students, the previous two lectures that I also attended, they were devoted to kind of characterization. And some of these methods are directly, they can be used for characterization of radioactive waste before they go to other steps. So this is the slide that shows the typical lifetime cycle of radioactive waste from their generation to their disposal. So on the upper part is the generation, and then at the very bottom is when we get rid of the waste. Either we clear them because the radionuclides have decayed, or their concentration is so low that they are below the clearance levels, so they are not anymore radioactive waste, or we need to go through different activities, and they are treatment, conditioning, interim storage, transportation, and disposal. And everywhere here, the standards which are used are developed by the IAEA, and then maybe they are altered by nations in one or another way. And also I put on this life cycle, where is the International Disposal Network. So you see here that this network deals with all activities before the disposal. The disposal has another network, which is called DispoNet. This is another network for the people who are focused just on disposal of radioactive waste. And LaboNet, it's a network which combines together the experts in characterization of materials, nuclear materials, radioactive materials. And from my colleagues from the IEA, it is possible that this LaboNet will be integrated within IPN, International Disposal Network. Currently, it is still a separate network. So the IPN, International Disposal network has, of course, dedicated meetings during the last year, and this year they are held virtually, like we with you now. And just recently we had a big during the 2 weeks we were joining via virtual platform of the IEA. We were using TEDx platform and had meetings on aspects of characterization of radioactive waste. So that was on waste for performance testing. Testing means characterization for low-level waste disposal. So the waste that should be directed to disposal. As far as I remember, Dr. Pente from BARC from Mumbai was participating, maybe other people as well, but here in this slide, I captured just a couple of these participants. There were many participants. So again, it's just to encourage some of you who work in characterization and have interest in working with radioactive materials to join this network, and that will allow you to be with your colleagues. Colleagues, before finishing my introductory of the IAEA, I am getting back to myself and to the area which is my preferred area of interest, scientific interest and activity. This is the glass. This is the area of vitreous materials. And again, next year is the International Year of Glass. Just recently we have published, I say because I participated in publishing the Encyclopedia of Glass Science, Technology, History and Culture. I put the link here. It's a two-volume book, two books. So it's quite extended. It is prepared by the experts and has different chapters. Some of them are, by the way, dedicated to the nuclear waste immobilization identification. It's not me. My colleagues from France have prepared this chapter. I was invited to prepare for the encyclopedia, the glass formation, the principles and how it happens that some of the materials, many of the materials can be can occur in the nature, and we produce them in form of glasses, whereas many materials are in crystalline form. And what is the physics and chemistry of this process? What is the most important um, issues that govern the formation of the glasses? This chapter was I prepared it, and if I also put here the link. So for dedicated advices in the area of vitreous materials, glasses, please consult the encyclopedia, which is now available. And it was almost a 3 years work in preparing this encyclopedia. It took a lot of time. It was guided by Pascal Richet from France. He is very well known in the glass community. He published many books, important books for silicate system, etc. And he led this publication of this encyclopedia. So that's my main area of interest, and one of application is vitrification of nuclear waste, and therefore it's where I combine my fundamental interest with the practical. So here it's the president, current president of International Commission on Glass, Professor Alicia Duran. She's from Spain, and she was happy and shared with us the decision of United Nations General Assembly, where they approved next year as the year of the glass. So I'm finishing. Thank you very much for your attention. I put here the sites that perhaps are known to you. I mean, the site of the IAEA, where of course you can download many publications, many documents, and find the detailed information about the agency, much to a deeper detail that very briefly I introduced to you. So colleagues, thank you, and I will stop sharing and give the floor to
just a minute, hold on 1 second. Students, you can take a screenshot of this because it contains the website, and his website has all the CV contact details of Dr. Ojovan.
And so, Gopi, I'll send to you the presentation. If someone will need it, you'll get it.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. If you can stop share, then we can start with the questions, Michael.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so we have many students now. Okay. I think there are some students who have their questions. So students, there are two options. Either you drop your name in the chat box so that we can highlight you, and then you can ask your question. In the meanwhile, I just have a couple of queries, some question. Meanwhile, I will just ask them. ICTP is funded by IAE, or it is a sister concern of IAE? ICTP.
ICTP. Yeah. ICTP is it is an independent organization, which is under IAEA. So partly, but only partly, it is because you ask about the funds. About the
I have taken funds from ICTP.
So only partly. Only partly.
Okay. So we have Dr. Neetu Chopra. Yes, please. Yeah, ask a question. Unmute yourself. Yes.
Thank you so much, Professor Ojovan, for such a wonderful and insightful session. Really, so basically, my research is a glass science, and we all know that the glasses are considered as a very good candidates for nuclear waste management. And I have investigated the effect of gamma irradiation on alkali board glasses. And sometimes I found that low dose of gamma irradiation gives a very noticeable effect on the glass structure, whereas a high dose doesn't. Why does it happen?
Once again, you said that low dose does a small effect or high effect.
Yes. Giving a high impact on the structural changes of the glasses as compared to the high dose.
Yes, colleagues. Yes. So you know, what you mean under the effect? In nuclear waste management, like formation of color centers. This is not important. Practically has no any effect on the degree of retention of radionuclides. So yes, there are structural changes because the electron hole centers are formed and many things are done by radiation. But from the point of view of retention of radionuclides, they do not affect at all the retention. So if you look to the properties, like the most important is the leaching. It is the amount of radionuclides that can be extracted by the groundwater from the glass itself. And if you look to this parameter, then practically there are you cannot observe this even the errors, the change of them. Of course, that if you go to huge doses, then can appear some bubbles, some significant structural change, but structural from the point of view that the mechanical structure, formation of maybe cracks, phase separation, crystallization, these things they are important for retention. So when you say that structural change you observe, it depends what you mean. And they are not important in the area where I look for, or the experts in nuclear waste management are looking at. So what you mean under the important structural change? Which one? Spectra of absorption, these things, yes, they are important and significant, but not in nuclear waste management because they do not affect the retention. The reliability of immobilization of radionuclides there. If you look to the activation energy of the processes, if you look to these things, they are also they are before irradiation. Although there are effects, and I by the way, I also studied the effect of irradiation on durability of borosilicate glasses, and we found changes. But if you look to the integral effect of this, it's minor. It's practically non-important. Has a very little effect in a summary integral release of radionuclides. And that is now, and that is expected to be in the far future. So we need to look into the details of your research. If you are really interested to communicate more, maybe we can exchange information via emails. And
Thank you so much, sir. I will share my data with you. Then we can analyze it, why it happens for a particular glass matrix or not. Thank you so much. Thank you.
thank you.
Now we have an MSc student, Manat Sharma. Manat, unmute yourself. Yeah. Manat, your voice is not audible. Yeah. Hold the mic close to your like. No, we still cannot listen you. Nobody can listen, right?
Switch on the microphone.
Yeah, switch on. Yes, speak now.
Hello,
Please
sir.
check the people.
Yeah,
Now it's good.
It's audible now. Yes.
First of all, thank you for your amazing lecture. My question is, how long is the nuclear waste radioactive?
Yes, thank you. Colleagues, the nuclear waste is radioactive until the radionuclides are decayed. And the lifetime of some of radionuclides, these are basically actinides, but not only. Some of them, it is extremely extended. So if you take the basic fission products, which are mainly cesium-134, 137, the 137, the lifetime is approximately 30 years. So it means after 30 years, we will have half of radionuclides gone, decayed, and the next 30, next half, etc. So in approximately, let's say, 300 years, most of them will be gone, and because of that, the radionuclides which contain these radionuclides, like up to the lifetime of 30 years, they are called short-lived. They are not much short-lived. 30 years, it's quite a long time, but they are called short-lived in the definition. So in approximately 300 years, we can expect that this waste will not be anymore radioactive. Although it depends on initial concentration. So if the concentration will be very high, they will need maybe not 300, maybe 500. And then that's it. But this is low level waste. If you look to the so-called high, intermediate or high level waste, they contain also long-lived radionuclides. These are radionuclides which have the half-lives longer. Let's say radium-226, it has the half-life 1,700 years. So we need to wait 107,000 years for a half to be decayed. So it's a very long time. So for the full decays of these radionuclides long-lived, we need 100,000 years, even million years. Because of that, the agency and let's say now it's generally accepted everywhere that we must dispose of this waste deep underground, very deep, so deep that no access to this waste of the humans, of the biological cycles that occur here, there is no access. And this is when it is called geological disposal facilities. It is when we have the depth approximately 300 and even more. So the deeper doesn't mean safe always. We need to look, what are the underground waters there and etc. What are the formations? So if it is a clay, it's very good. If it is salt, it's also very good. If it is the salt there, that means there is no water. Because of that, salt is also considered very good. So if we are dealing with the high level waste, then we must go deep underground just to ensure that not now, not during this our life, but in the very far future, no way for these dangerous radionuclides to get access to the biosphere where we are living in. And because of that, all this spent nuclear fuel, reprocessed waste from high-level waste from reprocessing of nuclear fuel after vitrification, they are pending, they are waiting availability of deep geological facilities. So, of course, the barriers that we produce, the glasses are very, very good, very good. But nevertheless, we need also geological formation to ensure the level of the safety now and in the future will be the same. And because of very long times of the decades, due to the presence of actinides, mainly long-lived radionuclides, we need to go to deep geological facilities, and the time of safe storage go beyond 100,000 of years, 100,000 of years. And by the way, since you are interested in science, one of the ways is transmutation. Transmutation is not currently available on industrial scale, it's just research. But when transmutation means that these long-lived radionuclides, there is a possibility to transmute them to short-lived by bombarding them with some particles, let's say by neutrons in fast reactors, and to transform them into short-lived. Then we will be able to short the lifetime of radionuclides from the thousands and thousands, many thousands of years to hundreds of years. And to improve, the level of the safety, because it's difficult, to foresee all kind of events and processes that can happen in the future. It's not just earthquakes. Many things change during the meteorites and so on, and etc. But thank you for the question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have added Isha because I got a question from Isha on my WhatsApp. She has written in Hindi, so I'm going to translate it. As you have, Isha is asking you, Isha, you are the Isha, right? I have added the correct Isha. Please unmute yourself. Okay. So she is asking that you said that we can bury nuclear waste near the surface repository, and in the tank in which you added it, if get leaked, then is it possible to detect that, number one? And number two, what will be the consequences?
The near surface repositories are used everywhere. I mean, and if the geological disposal facilities are mainly under construction, licensing, and very few are really available. The near surface repositories are indeed used everywhere because of use of nuclear energy already for many decades. But the near surface repositories are dedicated facilities only for so-called low-level waste. Low-level waste. By the words, you understand that the content of radionuclides in this material is low. How low is it? It is so low that indeed during the storage time, which counts for just, let's say, 300 years, they, due to the natural decay, will go. And it is also so low that the engineered barriers, like the materials where we embedded the radioactive waste, the containers, the walls of the repository, they provide the safety of the disposal, and we can see that. And also, because the question is about several hundred years, we know the materials, how they behave during a relative short, like tens and hundreds of years. We know that for cement, we know that, of course, for the glasses, we are sure even for longer time. And we can count by the experience, by the methodology that is now available on their behavior, and are able to prepare so-called safety assessment reports, which show with a very high degree of confidence that from these repositories where the radioactive waste is disposed of, there is no any harmful act of radiations and radionuclides from there. So about the detection, that's I emphasizing once again to you, dear students, that characterization is a thing which is required everywhere. It is required when you process the radioactive waste, before, during the processing, when you dispose of, and even after, because after the disposal of radioactive waste, all these sites are under the control. When even the repository is closed, there is another stage which is called institutional control stage. It means that it's not left out of attention. It means that the regulatory authority regularly asks to check and to control and to ensure every time that there is nothing harmful released from the repository. And of course, if colleagues, there are some legacy places in many countries when the practices in the past were not like now. The standards were not like now because we are learning. And at the beginning of nuclear nuclear era use, nuclear energy use, the radioactive waste was managed without much care. It was considered that if you put somewhere, dump it, it is already safe. And soon was realized that is not at all. So now the degree of confidence in all these disposal sites is much higher, and the requirements are much stringent, and the checking, the characterization, the sampling, analysis of these samples, and so on, it's quite sophisticated, and good level specialists are required practically. It's a good area where you can invest and then get.
Isha, you must introduce yourself so that he can remember you, tomorrow when you will apply to become a member of his INS, and he might give you some concessions or so.
Hello, sir. My name is Isha Bhadraj. I'm an MSc student. So it's very pleasure to meet you. You really inspired me a lot.
Michael,
Thank
students
you.
can become
Thank you.
member of your society, predisposable society, right? IPD?
Yes. I will send to you, and then you will see. But you can find it on the IEA website, of course, yourself without my advice. I just informed you that there is. You can search in it, and now everything you can find very easily. Okay. And if you are interested, apply. You will apply. Then the technical officer in the agency will look to who are you, and typically everyone it is allowed if has interest. So there is not something of course, then in the area of nuclear, there are areas which are sensitive, and not everyone it is allowed to know everything, because nuclear terrorism and so on. It's still so. But this area, it's not. There is not anything that will scare the officer and will not permit me to become a member if you are interested in.
Okay, and students, they can have there's some membership fee or so?
I think yes.
And first concessions for student, yes.
I think yes, but it's always is individual question. So it depends what you will write in
Okay.
this. So
Yes.
if
Students
you write
can
that
ask
this is
for the
going to use
various.
ready reply, it's not for teaching.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So we have the next student. Harman, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Haraman, BSc student, and thank you
BSc
for
means
your
undergrad
amazing presentation.
students. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
undergrad students. Yeah.
My question is, what type of place is suitable for installations of nuclear plants? What type of land and atmosphere needed?
The IEEA has developed specific safety guides. I even in one of my slides, I gave a reference to this regulatory document. This is a regulatory document. It means that the answer that I shall give to you, it is very well developed, and there are certain advices on how this site should be selected for. So of course that there are some common sense requirements, earthquakes and something. So these things are reflected in this standard, and it's not just a point that if it is clear and nobody leaves, then you can. No, there are certain requirements, and not every site it is indeed allowed for that. And depending on the situation, if it is there are different type of requirements how the things should be arranged in the case when this will be. And by the way, you asked about the nuclear reactors. There are even requirements to any nuclear facility. So there are specific requirements for the placement of nuclear reactors, but there are specific requirements also for the placement of other types of nuclear facilities, just to account for the possible accidents that can happen there and so on. So always when we deal with the utilization of nuclear energy, we use a so-called multi-barrier system. So it's many levels of defense in depth, it is also called. So when you count, of course, of engineers, putting everything that can be engineered to the highest level, but then natural barriers are also accounted, and they play their role. Like when we speak of nuclear facility, which is geological disposal facility, then the requirements there are so that you should go very deep underground and use only certain geological formations, not such like where the many gaps there, the water is flowing and so on. Then no. So there is a standard.
Thank you, sir.
My answer, very standard. Yeah.
And here is the last question by Sandeep. I got one more question on my WhatsApp, but I will post it to you, Michael, because I will give your email ID to some students who are really interested to work in this field. So one is like Manat Sharma, who spoke with you earlier. So I will share your email. Manat, then you can ask your question directly through email just to save the time. We are moving on to the last question by Sandeep, an undergrad student. Sandeep.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Sandeep. I am a BSc student. My first question is, can nuclear waste be destroyed? And second question, how long until nuclear waste is safe?
Can you repeat the first question?
Can nuclear waste be destroyed? We can destroy nuclear waste or not?
Can you destroy nuclear waste completely?
I see. Yeah. So thank you. That's because of the word. It wasn't clear to me. So the principle, the answer is yes, you can. And the proper word to say about the destruction of nuclear waste is transmutation. So why the waste is radioactive? Because some of the nuclei are decaying. They emit alpha particle, let's say, and they decay, then transform to another. This is a natural transmutation that occurs due to the decay. But if we will bombard this nuclei by some very energetic particles using accelerators, maybe lasers, or fluxes of neutrons from powerful nuclear reactors, if you bombard this nuclei, then we will induce the decay. We will induce the transformation of one element into another, and this is transmutation. So transmutation is one of technologies which in principle, it is aimed, like you say, to destroy the radioactive waste. It is to transform them from long-lived, which are dangerous, into short-lived, which will quickly decay, and we will get rid of them. So the first answer is yes, and this is a transmutation technology, which is not yet a question of industrial application, but who knows, the technologies are developing, the science is developing, and in the future may become technology that is at the moment can be used, but is so expensive that no way to use it yet. No way to use it yet. It's too costly to do that. That scientifically, yes. This question number two was again like how long is harmful the radioactive waste. Everything depends on the concentration of radioactive elements in the waste. This time, this concentration decreases because of natural decay. If you use transmutation, the decay will occur quickly. And when we will achieve the clearance levels by the decays, then the waste is safe. So every time we must calculate how long it takes to get to these clearance levels. And for low level waste, typically it takes several couples of hundreds years. So can be 300 years, can be 250, can be 400 years. And then by the natural decay, they will get to the clearance level and no more radioactive waste because they are considered non-radioactive. Although there is some radioactivity there, like in our bodies, there is some radioactivity here, but and there and everyone, of course, but it's not harmful because it's natural and we live with that. And most probably we cannot even live with that. Who knows? No one can check that because there is no life without radioactivity. There is no such life known everywhere without radioactivity. This is how the life exists with some radioactivity which must be low enough. So we need to calculate for all type of the waste. For low level waste, this is about 300 years plus minus. For long-lived waste, for high-level waste, that goes beyond 100,000 years because concentration is very high and half-life is very long.
Thank you. Let's give it now a small coffee break or lunch break to Michael because time really flies off. It is like 1.5 hour we have been talking and interacting so much. Really very meaningful talk. And before we end it formally, I would like to invite my head of department, Mrs. Parminder Kaur Chima, to propose a vote of thanks. Michael, I must say this, that she is gem of a person. She always encourages us, all the students, to us, motivate and always supportive to do whatever we want to do. Like she always say, yes, let's go ahead. Available for us round of the clock. So here we are.
Thank you.
Thanks now, Mrs. Parminder.
Dear Dr. Michael Ozaman, we are really grateful from our hearts for your interesting and very informative talk on the role of IAEA, that is International Atomic Energy Agency, in the peaceful use of nuclear energy and radioactive waste management. We are really honored, sir, to have a nuclear scientist of such a high caliber with us. Thanks for introducing IAEA to us and sharing beautiful video. We have come to know about the main areas of work of the agency for safety and security and other applications, and as technical cooperation, sustainable development goal. We also learned that India needs to go a long way in developing nuclear power share in its total power generation. Fourth part of your talk about safety disposal of nuclear waste was an eye-opener for us. We are also thankful to our principal ma'am for inspiring and guiding us and to think out of box. I'm also thankful to my colleague, Dr. Gopi Sharma, for arranging these beautiful series for our students. Thank you, students and my faculty members, for joining us this event. I'm sure that we all have gained and learned so much and enjoyed from your interaction and virtual visit. Thanks all. And bye-bye for now, till we meet again. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Manmeet, you can end the meeting.